Hello and welcome to Slamfire Radio, episode 465 for July 21st of 2022. I'm one of your hosts, Adriel.
I'm another host, Kyle.
I'm another host, Mo.
Is it 21st or is it 21th? What's the correct way of saying that?
I would say 21th.
21th? Okay.
Yeah.
I got it wrong. Yeah. Oh, well, I'll get it right next time. What we did in guns this week is brought to you by the Calgary Shooting Center, Canada's premier firearms retailer. Right now, they have the FN PS90 for $2,500. I know who put this in. I got a sneaking suspicion. I know who put this in. I know someone who's got a 5.7 Ruger who's been looking at FN PS90s. Is this a restricted one? 60-inch barrel?
Yeah, it's restricted. I haven't seen a non-restricted one.
Yeah, but that would be fun. Find any ammo for that thing yet? Did you get your guns yet?
I'm actually waiting for the FN still. I got the Canik, but I'm waiting on the FN. And there was some, I think Red Deer, I had found some in Red Deer, but I didn't buy it. And so, yeah, I don't know if they actually still have it in stock or not.
Well, why don't you start us off with what you did in guns this week?
Okay, well, I went and I shot the Bramley Challenge sporting clay match here in Grand Prairie at Wapiti Shooters Club, and it was a good weekend. It was absolutely a great weekend, it always is. Great food, great people. As far as the shooting goes, Saturday just absolutely sucked. I shit the bed hard on Saturday, and was actually getting quite frustrated because I ended up shooting in the main like 48% on Saturday, and then I figured, okay, well, I wasn't going to do anything other than the main, but come the afternoon, I decided to shoot the true pair game, which is supposed to be non-registered, so I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to go try and get my head on straight and go shoot that, and I felt like I was shooting better, but still pulled out like a 45% on the true pair game. So yeah, I was a rather down Saturday as far as the shooting goes.
Now, were you shooting this with like a $50,000 over and under?
No, that's
the problem. That's the problem.
I was shooting it with like maybe a $1,200 over and under. So
that's it.
You gotta bump those numbers up by like 50 times if you want to get those scores.
That is true. Yeah, that's true. But actually, it was surprising. I wasn't hungover any morning, which is really weird. But I woke up Sunday morning feeling good and everything, and I went out and I once again shot the best round of my life. Basically, I ended up shooting 68% on Sunday, so it was a massive improvement, and was finally feeling good about myself and that. But yeah, that was essentially my weekend. Just frustrated, wondering why the heck I'm shooting on Saturday, to okay, I think I might have finally figured this out, so next time I go out, I'll go shit the bed again now that I've figured it out. So
but do it in an informed way.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, that's what I've done. Mo, what about you?
I went to an IPSC match in Cornwall, Ontario. It was a level 2, 6 stages, really good stages. It was a nice day. I was happy with how I did. So, Guy, if you're listening, I actually said something positive, and Guy was there. He listens to the show, and he was he got a Slamfire Radio hat from one of the winter matches, and so he was wearing it, which was nice. Not too much detail from the match, but they were a really good stage. I always enjoy going to Cornwall. They always put on a good match. The rest of my week was preparing for my move, because I'm moving, and that's going to be like our main topic today. So I'll go into more details of the logistics of. I'll just say I own more than one gun, so there's effort required in getting all that done. So Really, that's it. I ended up buying some ammo too, and which my friend Louis helped me get, and because I wasn't going to be able to make enough for the next like bunch of matches, and I'm going to be in limbo for a while. So that's really at least I've got that set, and I don't have to stress about that. But it's really it for me. How about you, Adriel?
Well, I was off last week, so I've got more than enough to talk about.
Okay, good.
Okay, let's see. 2 weekends ago, Grand Prairie Maple Seeds. So I had a doubleheader in Grand Prairie there. It was interesting. So it's very sandy there. It's a sandy range. Everyone got a free polish job on their actions, just from all the sand going in their actions, really running them.
Yeah.
Yep. Day 2 was a bit windier, so basically day 2, everyone like their part of their prep was like get to their gun, shake the sand out, give it a quick blow, run the bolts a couple of times, and then get into the rest of their prep, which is kind of funny. Might have had a couple of people there that were on the show last week, so I listened in for a little bit of that, and yeah, it sounds like lots of learning, lots of expectations shattered for good and bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that expectations thing. I found it at the match I went to with Three Gun as well. Oh, and there was some listeners at Grand Prairie, a bunch of Slamfire Radio listeners, and even some people from Discord were on there as well. It's always nice to run into people that you like chat with online and meet them IRL. That's in real life for you boomers. Can I say you boomers if I'm like pushing like over 40? I don't know.
Yeah,
I think so.
You could say us boomers.
Us boomers, okay. Yeah. It was a good time. Really easy and real lots of fun out there. The range there is fantastic. That's one of the things I wanted to mention was Kyle took me around the range just for a quick little tour, and not even a quick tour because there's like a lot of stations there. I've been to a couple of ranges that have trap, and they'll have like the 5 stands set up, and that's it. It's just like a field. And it's like, okay, that's a shotgun range. They have trap and that kind of thing. But this is something else. They had like 20 mini stages like permanently set up, all with throwers and little stations. You go sit at the station, you press the button, 2 clays or 1 clay or whatever comes out at you from different angles. You just got to like make it happen, right? So almost like a golf course. Very, very much like a golf course, actually.
Yeah, I'd say that's a accurate description. Yeah.
With guns and mosquitoes. Actually, there's mosquitoes at golf courses too.
Well, of course.
Yeah. But it was really interesting from that aspect. And then the Maple Seeds were great as well. And then I went to the weekend after. I went to a 3-gun match at Sherwood Park. Some interesting things about that. I butt dialed 911, which is kind of fun. So my phone has like the fingerprint thing on it, and through the shorts, the mesh pocket is enough to like make it think it's doing something. So I got a lot of video from inside my pocket, and I called 911, and I noticed a couple of calls back from a number that looked like a police. So I called them up, and they're like, "Camrose Police." I'm like, oh, I got butt dialed, you guys. Okay, well, where are you at? Are you safe? And it's like, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. Despite all the sounds, yeah, I'm safe.
I'm at the gun range, and she's like, "Oh, okay, sounds good. That checks out." Yeah, but the match didn't go super well for me. So I brought my M1 Garand out, and on the very first, so I ran my pistol shotgun on the other stage, the first stage, which it was like I wasn't running at top speed. So I was like, I think 5 seconds off top time or something like that. But then the second stage, I had to run my M1 Garand. I pull it up, click. Uh-oh. Didn't fire. Rack that round out. Go to fire again. Click. Uh-oh. Didn't fire that one. Rack that one out. Go to fire again. Boom. Now I have a double feed. And there was a case stuck in the chamber. So that stage was very short. We actually had the option to shoot these targets with pistol, and I chose my rifle because I wanted to shoot my M1 Garand, and I stupidly left my handgun back at the table and all my mags off of me. Had I equipped myself with my pistol and mags, I might have been able to just like, whoop, this gun's toast, and drop it and go to my pistol and keep going. but I didn't give myself that option. So the case wouldn't come out because the rim ripped off. Steel case ammo, the rims will rip, and then there's no chance of getting on them. I borrowed a cleaning rod from my buddy, busted it. Sorry, Chris, and finally got the case out. Scrubbed it with a brush, put some oil in there, took it to the next range, shot it. Got a bunch of also. Keep in mind, I had this gun out 2 weekends ago, and me and my son both ran through 80 rounds without a single issue. I got some more failed fires. And then when it finally did fire, ripped the rim off. Now, a couple of clues here. So far, this is like looking real weird, right? Failed to fire and hard case extraction are two different issues. I took a look inside the bolt when I got home, and inside the firing pin channel, it looked kind of brown. Inside the chamber looked a little bit brown, but like I'm shooting copper washed ammo, so it could just be transfer from the copper wash. But the chamber looked brown. The firing pin channel looked brown as well. Rust. Now, I didn't shoot this thing on a rainy day last time, 2 weekends ago. Didn't shoot it on a rainy day. I believe what happened, this is Norinco surplus ammo. I believe that they slipped in some corrosive primers with some of their rounds, because that's known to happen on some of their 7.62 by 39 stuff. Some of it's non-corrosive, some of it is corrosive. Treat it all as if it is corrosive. I believe I got some corrosive in that day, and that's why I had rust in my chamber and rust in my firing pin channel. And those were causing my fail to extract, and they're causing my failures to fire, because that firing pin was all like cruddy up inside that channel. I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's so what I did is I did some derustification. I bought like a big jug of that deruster, like automotive stuff from Canadian Tire, and I dunked my bolt in there, and because I didn't really feel like taking apart a Garand bolt is a bit of a chore. So I dunked that. I dunked my trigger group was like pretty rusty just from before, so I dunked that as well, and I scrubbed the crap out of my chamber. Afterwards, so after pulling it out of the cleaner, I threw some silicone lube on it, because that's all I had for spray. That shit will not stop stuff from flash rusting, so I had to derust it again. And then I went to Cabela's and got a few things. I got some Ballistol, which is like a spray lube. It says food safe on here. Like, I guess this stuff's like mineral oil, kind to the skin, biologically degradable, which I don't know what that means. Food safe. Kind of like that idea. Most of the sprays and stuff I have are just straight up like petroleum products, not food safe. So I used some of that to give it its first coat. As soon as it came out of the deruster, you got to like use some brake clean or something like that to get the deruster off of it, and then go straight to like some oil to keep it from flash rusting, because as soon as it's like you strip away that oil. Some people like clean their guns, like my gun doesn't rust after I clean it, and like no, really clean it, like really use some like cleaners on it, get all the oil off of it. It will flash rust. Anyways, it's back together again. It's sitting in the back shelf there. I'd like to take it out to the range and see if it runs 100% now, and with that ammo. And if it does, I think I'll clean it afterwards. I think I'll give it a quick clean, just in case I get some corrosive. So that happened with Timmy. That resulted in a not so great stage. I wrote 2 or 3, whatever. I can't remember. And then my son was shooting. He was shooting my 1911 9mm. It was giving him some issues, so he switched over to the 22 1911, which ran just fine. And he was shooting my WSMCR, and he was getting some fails to fire on it as well. Different issue with this one though, because it so then he was shooting it, and I'm like, nah, I don't know what you're doing. Like, I don't know what you're doing, but you're not using the gun right. I'll show you. And I shot mine, and it was fine. And then on the very next time he shot it, he had the upper break. There's supposed to be like a lug there. There's no lug there. There's just a chunk of missing aluminum.
Wow.
Which wasn't his fault. It was just like the gun giving up the ghost on that front piece. Interestingly enough, so this is actually, I believe, from the bolt slamming forward and it pushing forward on this thing. Because if you look at the back, see how that's elongated, those rear
that
holes?
is stretched right out, yeah.
That's stretched right out. And like the recoil-wise, like the barrel and the bolt are holding all the power, and it just hits it with the little thing, goes back, comes forward, slams forward, slams forward, slams forward. And
wow.
I mean, the only thing holding the upper and the lower together is basically, once that's stretched out, just this thin little piece of aluminum at the front there.
Mm-hmm.
And it broke. What did we use after that? I used someone else's WSMCR. Oh boy, I'm blanking on the name right now. Trevor? Oh God, that's horrible. He's a listener too. Oh, embarrassing. Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, that second stage didn't go so well for my son, but then the rest of them were fine for me, and I did well on the other ones. We did like a shootout. This was unfair. So the way the shootout was arranged, so like I basically tanked my score, right? I was a solid mid packer, but the way the shootout ran is they put like we did pairs. So we paired up like the best with the worst. That's one team. Second best with second worst. That's one team. So I ended up somewhere in the middle there where I shouldn't have been. Ended up with like a decent shooter to pair up with. So we won. It wasn't fair though. It wasn't like that wasn't fair. Let's see. Yeah. So I contacted Wolverine and like, yeah, just send it to us and we'll take a look at it. So I'll send it to them and see what happens. If I can get warranty on that, that'd be really nice.
Yeah.
Let's see. I sold a Winchester Wildcat to another Discord user. And I did the individual web services thing to verify their PAL, which is something that. So that is that the first time? Second time I've done that. First time is the seller, I believe. It's easy enough. As long as you like have some time beforehand, it's easy enough.
Okay, good.
Yeah. And then I went to Cabela's. I like met the guy at Cabela's. So I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go. Well, I got some money burning a hole in my pocket. Let's go into Cabela's and see what's going on in there. And like right at the gun counter, I met a 3-gunner there, and he's like, how's it going? Yeah, no 3-gun. I'm like, no, I ran 2 at Sherwood Park. And he's like, oh, interesting. Okay, so we talked a little bit about 3-gun. Looked at some very fancy pants guns. We looked at the Savage Impulse, which is interesting. I'm not going to get one, but like they're interesting. We also looked at Benelli's rifle. Oh, what was it? They have a bolt action rifle, and the bolt on that thing was slick as snot. Oh, really nice. And then we looked at some other stuff. I looked at that Romeo. I think it's a Romeo 5. Their red dot. It's a Vortex Crossfire. Like I looked at it, and like, oh, now that I see this in my hand, this is a Vortex Crossfire. And I would get one, but like because they have a really decent deal on the Romeo 5 with the high mount. But I don't have a lot of rifles that can make use of that kind of thing, right? If I had a couple of ARs, definitely, but
yeah,
I don't really have that right now. I bought a cleaning rod to replace the one I broke of Chris's, so I can give that back to him.
Nice.
I got some of the ballistol, and there's something else I got. Oh, I got a fancy cleaning rod. Is it here? And I got to clean because I was using the cleaning rod for like cleaning my Garand. I'm like, man, this thing sucks. This is like some crap. I deserve a nicer one. So I got one of these ones that's got like 2 ball bearings in it. So like the rod like moves super smooth in there, and it's like, yeah, slick. Yeah,
nice.
Yeah. Other stuff I've been doing. My brother lives in an area where he can get, or I can get 3 deer tags, but I got to use like a shotgun or a bow and arrow or something like that, not like a standard rifle. So I've been thinking about like slugs, chokes, accuracy, buckshot versus slugs versus sabot and that kind of thing. I could have like a maximum 100-yard shot. So I've been thinking about like what kind of setup would be ideal for that. I think I'm going I'm going to use the Savage Stevens because it's drilled and tapped. Because I would really like to use, I've got a primary arms 1X. It's very compact. I think it would be perfect for that kind of thing. A max 100-yard shot on a deer with a slug or something like that.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it. Yeah. Yeah. I could just use the bead, but I would think that a 1x optic would just be like a lot more accurate than trying to use the bead on a shotgun. Plus, like some shotguns hit quite high with a slug. My A5 at 100 meters hits about 2 feet to the left. So like it would be nice to be able to just dial in and know it. So I think that's what I'm going to do. But that means I have to polish the chambers on that thing. I was asking Kyle about what he uses. I think I'm either going to do the valve grind compound on a mop, or I'm going to use steel wool on a brush and just get in there and give her the beans. But
okay.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see.
Dremel has the softer bits too for like sanding and polishing. They have different grits in them. You could try those too if you don't want to go so aggressive is what I was mentioning.
Yeah, well, I want something that that is going to be perfectly centered. So, like, that's why I'm tending towards the brushes that will like fully fit inside there. I was looking. There's a flex hone that you can get that'll do it as well. It'll do probably a better job. But those flex hones I couldn't find one that does 12 gauge chambers. I found cylinders. I found like the bore. I didn't find a China chamber one. They're right around $50. I'm like, really, it's not that I'm cheap, but I'm super impatient. I'm probably just going to use some steel wool or something like that and just give her a quick zip. And then I was thinking about accuracy and the effect of chokes on it, because that Savage Stevens, I've got an 18-inch cylinder barrel on it, and I've got a 28-inch with an improved cylinder on it. The 28-inch, like I have more experience shooting slugs with improved cylinder or modified. That's pretty much what I shoot all my slugs out of because I shoot them at 3-gun, right? But I was kind of curious. What about shooting it out of a cylinder bore? Because that 18-inch barrel, I don't need the extra length for more burn. I'm getting no extra burn out of a slug for a shotgun. So why not go with the 18-inch barrel, nice and small and compact with a 1x optic on it? Nice and small. Nice and handy, whip it up, get the shot off. But what's the accuracy difference going to be with slugs between cylinder bore, improved cylinder, modified? I tried looking it up. I tried looking at some YouTube videos the other day, and I would say that the scientific rigor in those YouTube videos was poor, is putting it nicely. They would shoot one group of 3 for each choke. So, and you guys have done Maple Seed. I saw, I'll show you the images at the end of the day. The groups that they were getting, one guy was shooting prone with a steady rest on front, and his group looked like this. Lots of horizontal. What is that? Trigger press. The guy was slapping the shit out of his trigger. Because if your ammo is inaccurate to 3 inches, you would expect a rough round group, not an oval group. And that's what he was getting, was oval groups. His groups were horizontally spread. That's all him. So I don't trust the information that's online right now, at least the information I found. If you guys have seen some better comparisons of accuracy with different chokes, I'd be super interested to see it. I really want to run the cylinder. I really want to run the 18-inch cylinder.
From what I've seen and heard, it depends on the gun and barrel. Some guns like mods, some guns like the IC, and it all depends on the gun that you have.
Well, I know that with my A5, the IC will send them approximately centered. The mod choke will send them 2 feet to the left at 100. So like the impact changes quite a bit based on which choke I'm running.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious. I would love to run the 18, because to run an 18-inch barrel on that thing would be so nice and tight, so nice and small. Little 1x optic on there. Because I've got like, at my brother's place, maybe like 70 yards. Maybe. That would be like pushing it. Probably like 50. Just a slug on deer at like 50 through a 1x. And an 18-inch barrel, nice and short. I'm just going to like, here's what I'm going to do. Come hunting season, I'm going to pop out like one of those camping pop-out chairs. I'm going to sit on this one little like hill, and I'm going to wait for the deer to go to this little lake on this little like stretch, and they have to go through this one spot. I'm just going to paste them with those slugs. I'm going to get like 3 deer like that.
Nice.
That's my plan, anyways. But like, so, anyways, I was talking to one of my buddies in Calgary about this slug accuracy thing, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I've got this gun that has this, this, and this. We should go test all of these different things and do a proper test." So I think that's going to be one of the things I'm going to do this summer is do a proper accuracy test of slugs through different chokes. I'm probably going to use the low recoil slugs because I have a crap ton of them and they're cheap. So I'm probably going to use the low recoil score slugs. That's still viable, right? I don't need to use like super high power stuff. What do you guys think?
Yeah. Nah. You're talking that competition stuff?
Yeah.
Out to 100? I don't know. It's going like
No, I'm not going to shoot at 100. I'm going to shoot at 50 because I need like between chokes. I don't want it to go off paper, and I know that 100, like they could be feet off paper. All right, so I'm going to go 50. I'm just going to go off group size at 50.
Yeah.
I'm going to use a proper scope. So like not the 1X. I'm going to go with like a 3-9 or something like that, and lead sled them and do like a proper like what kind of accuracy can you expect with different chokes with like a typical Foster slug. So I know like a Sabo slug and a rifled barrel is going to give you better accuracy, like the best accuracy you can hope for with a shotgun. But that's not really what I want to know the answer to. Because I don't want to get a rifled barrel. I want to use my crappy $200 shotgun and I want to whack some deer with it. I just want to know what the difference. I also went down the rabbit hole of like buckshot and like whether that's viable or not. Long story short, I'm gonna like maybe I'll piss off some listeners. Buckshot's not viable. No. Buckshot is like there is like such a small reason to use buckshot. It's not worth it. The reason, a little bit aim. So if you're like at this magical distance of like 25 to like 40 meters, the pattern might give you a little bit like less precision required on aim. But close in, you still need precision on aim because now your patterns are still going to be tight. And the energy drops off incredibly after like 50 yards. After 50 yards, they're like losing because they're tiny. They're 40 grains each. Like a number one is like a 40 grain pellet that's like a 22, and they're also like 1200 FPS. So like, would you shoot a deer with like 10 rounds of 22 rapid fire? No way. No one. If you phrase it that way, no one would ever do that. It sounds ridiculous. But we use this buckshot to do it all. Oh, and the other thing that it's that's good at is if you're shooting through brush, because if your deer is like if there's brush in front of your deer, some of the buckshot will get through. You shoot a rifle or something like that, or a bullet, and it hits a twig. My buddy shot at a deer last year, and there was a twig he didn't see, and it knocked his bullet completely off target, and it wasn't even that far of a shot. Yeah. But with buckshot, something's getting in there. Yeah, that's a pretty minimal advantage, I would say. And for the other thing I was looking up is just like I always like looking at the math of it, right? For shotguns, the BC is so bad on on shot and on slugs that you're just adding more recoil that will never make it to target. Buckshot, like there's a bunch of recoil 50 yards, it's never going to even get there. It's going to be like you're moving wind around. Even slugs, you're looking at a BC of like 0.1. It's like a Coke can flying through the air.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'll probably go through this more in detail once I've got more details from my article that I'm writing right now.
Look forward.
Long story short, I want to go slugs and I want to just keep my distance reasonable. I think Sabo would get you like more accuracy for like a 100 to a 150 shot, but I think just like a Forster slug at less than 100 should be fine. I'll find out.
Yeah,
find out what the barrels. Yeah, so I need to polish those chambers. I need to get a rail, and I need to go to the range and just shoot a crap ton of slugs.
Crap ton.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. On to upcoming events sponsored by Telos Alpha. Telos Alpha is a Canadian digital agency that works exclusively in the firearms vertical. They help with business processes, strategic planning, websites, e-commerce, and battling the stigma the industry carries with banks, merchant processors, and social media. Learn more at telosalpha.com. Events. There's spots still open at the Battleforts, Drumheller, Dawson Creek, Rimbey, Cornwall. I'm going to be opening up a new Bonnyville event for September something. I need to send out the stuff to the range and whatnot. Kamloops, there's going to be a Rimfire Competition Academy and CRPS Ladies Only match. CRPS Ladies Only match is a 10-stage standard format PRS style or long range for rimfires match with 1 to 5 steel targets placed between 100 to 300 meters. The links are on practicescore.com for both the Rimfire Competition Academy and the CRPS match, both ladies only, which is very neat. If you need to, they'll have loaner rifles and ammo there. Ely donated some ammo, so it's nice ammo. It's not just like some blaster ammo. Yeah. Some familiarity with shooting is highly recommended, or at least to have participated in a Project Maple Seed. That's actually one thing I really liked about the Grand Prairie Maple Seed. There's a ton of ladies there for representation at both days was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love it. News. Did you guys talk about this amalgamated bank CEO thing last time?
We did, yes.
Oh, okay, perfect. I got to mention this new one then here. So there was a shooting that was stopped by a legal gun owner in a shopping mall in Indiana. I think it was a copycat shooter. So the reason why is we had one 2 weeks ago or something like that. The U.S. had one 2 weeks ago in Uvalde, and that shooter had a carbine AR with iron sights, and they had a nicer AR with an EOTech on it. And this shooter, same thing. The carbine with iron sights and a longer one with an EOTech. It's got to be a copycat. That's ridiculous coincidence otherwise.
Yeah.
So
the exact same setup. Yeah.
Very, very close. Yeah. But this one still went to a no gun zone because the rules for this shopping mall were no weapons, no concealed carry. But someone did, not only did the shooter not follow the rules, some other guy didn't follow the rules either, and pasted him 15 seconds into his shooting spree. So he didn't get very far.
Good.
And that was impressive too. 10 rounds from 40 yards in 15 seconds, an 8 out of 10 hit.
Like, if you ask someone to do that at IPSC, they'd be like, this is too hard. Sorry, this isn't fair. Yeah, I'm supposed to hit an IPSC-sized steel target from 40 to 50 meters while getting cover, while on the move. And I have to get 8 out of 10 in 15. I don't know if it was in 15 seconds. He engaged him in 15 seconds, but it had to have been quick, right?
Yeah, the stuff I was seeing was that over 15 seconds, he fired 10 rounds.
Impressive.
Yeah.
That's very impressive. I know it was a Glock 19. I'm not sure if it had a red dot or not. I think early on the reports were all over the place on what he was using. But in any case, concealed carry holder stopped the mass shooter cold. I think a lot of the news were saying, this doesn't happen very often. It's not often that a bystander stops a mass shooter by shooting them. But on the other hand, like this location, most mass shooters choose places where guns aren't allowed. Yeah, so it's like the only time you're going to get this happening is when someone else is breaking the rules. And Russ is saying there, constitutional carry, which just came in Indiana, and the governor said, ignore no gun signs. Okay, all right.
Good governor.
Break the rules. Break the rules. Yeah. But very interesting. That 40 to 50 yards thing is probably the most interesting because that is an incredibly difficult thing to do.
Yeah.
Not even on a timer in like a life or death situation.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't know if I could do that.
Most people couldn't.
No.
We're not most people. We're all competitive shooters.
No, I know, but that's still a significant distance with a pistol, right?
Yeah. I know I can't because if you put me on the clock for 15 seconds and if I'm at the 50-meter bay, I'm not going to put all hits on target. And I guess I don't need all hits on target. I just need 3 or so.
You need 80%.
Just the first couple. Out of 10, just the first couple. I guess the other thing that this brings up is the limit on 10-round mags. Our hero defender here used 10 rounds, but could have used more. Like if you're in a gunfight with someone who has an AR, Yeah, a couple more rounds would be nice. Yeah,
Uh,
full capacity, regular capacity mags would have been nice for him, I guess.
I don't think you can call a timeout during a gunfight to say, "Well, I only had 10 rounds in my mag, so can we?"
Yeah. Just
Can
wait
we
here
wait?
while I go get more ammo.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But he made it happen. It's good to hear. Any other thoughts on that?
No.
No, it's U.S. news. Well, like the only reason we bring it up is because U.S. affects us. Oh, the other thing, did they just pass an assault weapon ban in the U.S.? I saw something like that today. There was some assault weapon legislation that they're pushing through.
I didn't hear anything on that.
I didn't hear anything either.
I only barely pay attention because the U.S. is a different country than us. But yeah, I thought some people would think it's not, and that all of the U.S.'s problems are our problems too. But yeah. All right, CCFR legal fund donations, the Ultimate Choice 2022 contest. Enter and you can win some shopping sprees. There's like 10,000, 5,000, 5,000. So basically, donate some money and get a chance to win some shopping sprees. Let's get into new gun stuff. New gun stuff is sponsored by Bolt Action Coffee. Bolt Action Coffee is a branded. No, Sunfire Radio is a brand ambassador for Bolt Action Coffee. It should be the other way. They should be a brand ambassador for us, actually.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, now that I think about it. Yeah, that's the way this should be working. If you want some gun-themed coffee, head over to boltactioncoffee.com and use the discount code SLAMFIRE and grab yourself some coffee. All right, new gun
think
stuff.
they would sell more coffee if they had our pictures on the packages?
I mean, we'd have to work out some
detrimental.
sort of licensing deal. I feel like I don't know what they would cost them, but probably a lot. Yeah. But let's go into some new gun stuff here. I'm just going to share my screen and let's do that one. The first one is that Delask has a new order of kid triggers and barrels in. So if you've been looking for some Gucci 1022 stuff, head on over there. The next one is that Wolverine has some Glocks incoming. So these are expected to come in pretty soon here. They got some Glock 17 Gen 5s, Gen 4s, 19Xs, 19 Gen 4s, Glock 44s, Glock 22s, all coming in. So right now, if you want one, send them an email at sales@wolverinesupplies.com. I Run Guns has a couple of weirdo guns, kind of weird looking guns. They got some Beretta 92s. They got the Sarselmaz. I believe those are Turkish. They make a CZ 75 like Shadow 1 kind of a knockoff. That's all right. Okay. They got some Canics. They got some CZ SPO1s at SPO2 pricing, which I think is the norm right now. They got some Ruger 5.7s and some more Canics. Next up, Bullseye North is having their anniversary sale up to 90% off using code ANNIE10. Minimum of 10% off. Some restrictions apply. So take a look at that. And then, I don't know if you guys have seen these, but these are starting to show up on shelves. The Savage has a 20-round mag for their, that's huge, for their Savage 64. So if you have a Savage 64 and you wanted more than 10 rounds, Savage has got you covered now. They've got a 20-rounder.
Nice.
And there's one other. Oh, yeah. Tenda has Federal Gold Medal Match on sale. The 308 stuff, the 175 grain, for $39 a box. That is hot. That, like, for this day and age, that's very hot for match grade 308 ammo. So if you're looking for some of that, Tenda has some.
Good.
Cool.
Let's head on over to the main topic. Moving with guns. Mo, this is your life. Do you want to bring us into this topic?
Yeah. So I'm currently going through it, and I was going to say it's unique. My situation is I'm not moving directly to where I'm going to be living, so it's going to be an in-between address. So what I'm doing is just last night, actually, I moved all my non-restricted, so all my obviously long guns, to my friend Louis' house because he had an extra safe, so he's going to be keeping them for me. And as I was moving them last night, and I didn't have enough cases or socks or whatever, so don't judge me, but I put them all in garbage bags. I bought extra large garbage bags. And then I have a pickup truck, but I didn't put them in the bed. I just put them behind the seat. And I made what I'm calling a long gun lasagna. So I put them like 2x2, and I had styrofoam sheets from other packaging and stuff. So I kind of put them in between, and I just like layered them. And you know what? And then I kind of patted the sides on each, so there was like no wiggle, no nothing. They were just like nicely planted. And when I was driving, like I didn't hear them move at all. So I made a lasagna out of all my long guns. And then with a
that was going to be one of my first questions. How do you actually do the move? Because I used a whole bunch of double cases. I have about 3 or 4 double cases.
I have one double case and one single case. That's all I have. So, and I have more than 3 long guns. So, anyways,
lasagna, enough to make a lasagna. That's your count.
Yeah. So you know what? And I think they none of them seem to have any wear on them. So I think they survived the trip nicely. And so that's what I did. Now, for the restricted is where it gets trickier because, and we can talk about this, is like having enough locks for, number one, trigger locks or cable locks, and then enough locks for the actual cases themselves. So that's been a challenge.
I mean, for the restricted, sure, but for the non-restricted,
no. For the restricted, I'm talking.
I see.
The restricted, yeah. So what I've been doing is I've been gathering all my, when you buy a gun and you get your lock in the package, and most of us, like, if we keep the box, great. If not, we just chuck it in a bin and that's it. So I've been gathering all my cable locks with the little keys and stuff, and I just started like a little bit of a labeling system to to keep them organized and stuff, because it's going to be a nightmare because all those little keys are identical. So we're very close. So.
One-way trip. Lock them, throw away the keys, give them to your buddy. When it's time, when you finally get them in your place, cable cutters.
Yeah. This is yeah. Well, I'm doing it with the keys and stuff. So that I'm like labeling them that way I can take them off when necessary.
How many trigger locks do you own?
7.
Kyle,
7.
How many trigger locks do you own?
I don't know.
I think I've probably got 15 combos.
Oh, okay.
And I've probably got, for cable locks, I probably have another 30. And I probably have, I think I have 10 or 20 of those little plastic ones that I bought in bulk. Now, those cable locks all come with new guns, right? So my thing
the
is
little plastic ones with it just you screw in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I bought extra because when I ship, I like to lock guns that I ship. So I use the little plastic ones. So I bought in bulk from a distributor, so I can do that.
Yeah.
Okay, no, that's a good suggestion. See, I wish I should have asked you.
You're what you're doing, I think, is the right thing. Just use those cable locks for their once and only time in their lives.
Yeah,
and then, yeah.
I mean, they were just sitting around, like, still packaged and everything. Like, I never took them, and so I'm now just gathering them all and opening them up, and So that's been the challenge. I ended up so I'm keeping the restricteds with me where I'm moving. So I ended up buying. I didn't want to take my real safe beast that it is to that location, so I ended up going to Canadian Tire to buy. It's like a stack on, but it's like Yukon gear. I think that, Yukon.
Yeah,
gear.
the metal cabinet.
Yeah, it's like that cheap thin.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's nice because it's light and like it's easy to move around and stuff, and it was super easy to assemble, and so I've got that set to store all the restricteds in, because I because I'm going to matches in Ontario and Quebec, I wanted them to be registered with me, so that way, I mean, there's only one gun that really goes anywhere with me, but I wanted it.
Your competition gun?
Yeah, and Louis had made that suggestion, so I didn't have to. The ATTs wouldn't start getting tricky to, moving it from somebody else's house to the match and back and forth and stuff. So,
do you guys have like a bin of old locks that you can use?
Yeah, see that I had a cardboard box like that of all my locks.
They're falling out. And
Yeah, it's
manuals.
amazing all those locks that everybody has, right? That most of the time don't get used, but
Yeah.
And manuals.
and
What
manuals.
is a manual for a Mossberg Maverick?
Do you keep the manuals?
I'm throwing it in the garbage right now.
Okay. Because I always feel like, should I keep the manual? Should I not keep the manual? And I'm like, I end up keeping it, but then it's just they just all sit there. So
I do end up keeping the manuals. I just throw them in the drawer or in the case that it come with or whatever.
yeah.
Garbage.
But so Adriel, in Alberta, when you did so for my I did the ATT for my change of address with Quebec, and for all the restrictions, of course. And I did. I actually listed all the certificate numbers and serial numbers and everything on the document to do it. Did you have to do something similar to that?
No.
Or no?
No, I did it the easy way. I because I had to sell as well, I transferred all my guns to my buddy's place, moved them all there, and sold my house without all my guns hanging around my house. And then once I bought my new place, I transferred all my guns from him to the new place.
And how was the transfer done? All like in one shot, with a document or with a phone call?
Phone call, and then phone call 2 weeks later to be like, yo, what's happening? And they're like, oh, why are you transferring so many guns? I'm like, well, I'm moving my house. Oh, okay, that sounds good. Done.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's how it's done in Alberta.
Yeah, when we moved to the place that we're in now, I just called them up, said, yeah, need address change, and I'm moving, so I need to move. Said, when do you want to move the guns? Just gave them a date. And just, that was it. Didn't have to list all the serial numbers or red certs.
Yeah,
it was just, I'm taking everything. Okay. And like that day, I had my notice.
Nice. Well, I already got the notice. So that part didn't take long, and it was just the itemizing that took some time.
So you have to itemize everything?
I did it. I don't know if I needed to. The document does show that, it does show that you have to list them now. I don't know. I did it that way, and it's done. So and it got approved. So I mean, that's that. But
yeah.
I will have to find out if I actually needed to itemize them or not.
I think between the transfer is obviously the easiest way to do it. I think the thing that would worry me more about moving on a certain day is like, what if the day moves? Like when we went to go get possession of our place, like they're super slow, and I was like, oh, I might not be able to get possession today. And then what, you got to like call them back? Oh, sorry, the sellers were D-bags, and I had to delay a day, and now I got to do it the next day.
Yeah, no. With I should have mentioned that with Quebec, I was given a 5-day range, so it was up to 5 days.
I think you can do that,
which I think is fair, right? Because I mean, you start at the beginning of a weekend to move, and then you finish at the end of the week. Like, it should cover you, right? So
yeah, I think you can do that in Alberta too. You can say, well, I want to move between these dates, kind of thing.
Gotcha. Yep, that would work. So it sounds like a couple of considerations is like storage and transportation.
Transportation, enough cases or sleeves or locks if needed. And now that's a good suggestion on the little screw-in doohickey versions.
I mean, that's just,
I guess they are legal, right?
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're legal, and I like using them when I buy and sell. When I sell and I'm going to ship a gun, I'll put one of those crappy little trigger locks on it and mail it, and don't have to worry about it. And I'll include one of the keys because I got a million of those things too.
Yeah.
Anything else to think about for moving with guns? I guess be sure that like when you move, like you're living in the new place, so you don't get like a looky-loo come through and like steal your crap when because that happens a lot. You're moving in and you're not quite moved in. You go back to the old place to stay, and then the new place gets knocked over because they see the moving trucks.
Yeah.
I wouldn't it's good suggestion. I wouldn't do anything too ahead of time, right? You kind of do it as I guess if you're moving all your other furniture and appliances and all that stuff, I would probably leave the guns as your last pieces to move, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep.
unless you have a friend that they're going to be secure, they're going to be secured at that location, right? And then you don't have to worry about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And when you move into your new place, build a gun room.
Yes.
And have to deal with all the locks and safe room and all that other kind of stuff.
Yeah. Buy a place that has a gun room potential.
Gun room potential.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Forget about nice kitchen and living room and all that other stuff. Just
how much time are you going to spend in the kitchen anyways?
You barely spend any time in there. So.
Yeah, exactly. Kids' bedrooms.
You just need a bed. That's it. You just need a bed.
Yeah. Cool. Anything else to consider when moving with guns? Oh, prohibs, ARs. You didn't have to move an AR. I did.
I did.
You did?
I am.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. It's on the.
What'd they say? They're just like, yeah, whatever. Just move it.
Yeah, when I moved from Ontario, they just said, yeah, it's registered to you. You're changing your address, and that's that, right? Right.
They didn't even say the registered thing to me. They're just like, yeah, just move.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
because it's not registered right now.
No, they pulled the certs.
The certs.
Oh,
strictly speaking, yes, they know you own it, but it's not a registered restricted weapon. It's a prohib. It's a prohib that has like weird rules around it. So like when I called in for the Alberta, they're just like, man, just go. Just lock it.
Yeah.
Trigger lock your upper and lower before you bring them. Wouldn't want them doing anything dangerous.
Yeah, I think they were saying like treat it as its previous classification, the restricted. So,
yeah, trigger lock your lower and put it in a case and lock the case too.
Yeah,
I put mine in a safe. I like a crappy little safe. I just chucked them in there. Not worrying about if they get scratched or anything, because who cares?
Yeah.
Anything else to say about moving with guns?
Just plan ahead.
Yeah. You definitely have to give it some thought, because it's not just something you toss them in a box and away you go, right?
Yeah. Well, and while you can be lucky and get your transfer same day or whatever, same thing with ATTs. You give it some time.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they're not just okay. You get off the phone and you get an email.
Yeah, one time I had to go like cross province, and it was day of, and like I'm driving, and like I called them up like, "Yo, I asked you guys for this thing. What the heck?" They're like, "Okay, we'll send it to you right now." And they sent it to me, and I got it on the email. Okay, great. Jeez, I gave them like a week or something. Like, yeah, lots of time. Anyways, it was something slow going on that day, but yeah, plan ahead.
What I would suggest, I was just thinking about something. What I would suggest, and this is not something I did, that if you competition shoot and you reload, that you should probably be reloading enough ammo for the amount of time that you're going to be down for, right? So if you've got two, 3, whatever amount of matches in that, that month, or 2 weeks, whatever period of time that you're not going to be able to reload when your bench is not set up and your bench and press is not set up, that you have enough ready to go.
Does that mean
you can't load small batches then?
No. My small batch process bit me in the ass.
So you had to go all out just this once. You had to make 1,000 rounds.
I need to make 2 small batches. So yes, reload ahead of time.
Fun stuff. All right, let's get into listener feedback. Listener feedback is sponsored by Armory DC Gunsmith. Armory DC Gunsmith is a full-service gunsmith who specializes in firearms refinishing. He offers hot bluing, parkerizing, and Cerakote finishes, as well as wood refinishing to fix up those guns you dented up while you were moving. He offers, check out his online inventory of new and used guns at dcgunsmith.ca. Facebook, we've kind of been reading them as we've been going along. Emails. Kyle, do you want to take this one from Spencer?
Sure. Hey guys, after hearing the story about Amalgamated Bank you had on the show a while back, I looked into it a little more. It turns out this is one of those socially responsible banks. They suggested that guns and ammo be given a separate merchant code so that all these types of purchases could be tracked by credit processors. The bank's CEO said that they could then use the data to flag suspicious purchases the way they do for fraudulent transactions. Of course, the difference here is that these flags wouldn't generate a call to the cardholder asking if the transaction was legitimate, but instead go to some law enforcement agency without their knowledge. Not only is this terrifying, it's probably illegal, at least here in the US. It's also pointless since any review of mass killers show that there were dozens of red flags in most cases. Almost all of these killers had multiple contacts with the authorities with no action taken. I find it hard to believe that anyone buying an AR and 500 rounds of ammo would be looked at with any great suspicion until after the fact. What's worse is that this scheme would have allowed the easy implementation of something the Obama administration called Operation Choke Point. No kidding, they really called it that. This was an attempt to get merchant banks and card processors to deny service to firearms-related business. It was totally illegal and was facing a bunch of restraint of trade challenges when Trump won and shut it down. Having these dedicated codes could make this type of prior restraint simple, though. You could see processors simply denying any transaction that included the firearms or ammo code. An administration that was willing to shield these credit processors and fight it out in court could lead to a program like this running for years before finally being shut down. Luckily, the International Standards Organization has control over these merchant codes, and they denied the bank's request to make them official. I'm kind of surprised since I wouldn't have thought the ISO was particularly pro-gun, but it sounds like there were some other reasons behind it. Hopefully this plan is dead in the water, but you never know with this kind of thing. We just had the most significant Supreme Court ruling here since Heller and the states affected were trying to get around it literally hours after it was announced. The gun control lobby never seems to give up. Take care, Spencer. And P.S. Kelly, it sounds like 28 gauge is the new hotness. I'd never heard of it until you brought it up, but now I'm hearing the guns talked about a lot on various gun podcasts and channels. I also heard an interview with a Remington rep who mentioned 28 gauge as something they were going to start supporting more because of its popularity with sporting clays.
Interesting. Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know in New York, their way around this was, okay, the whole state is no concealed carry. Like they just added so many locations that that it became a moot point, basically.
Yeah.
But they're just going to lose in court again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They're just nuisance stuff, and then they'll lose, and then they'll bring up something else, and you can't carry on asphalt, you can't carry on cement, you can't carry on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right. But that's it's good. It's good direction. Good direction you guys are heading in. We're going the other way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are going the other way, yes.
Yeah.
Always.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Always.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens with bands over the next week here in the US. This next one's from James. I'm looking for at first. Sorry, am I skipping ahead? Did you guys have any comments on Spencer's email?
They have a lot more stuff backing them that's easier for them to fight. From the sounds of it, there's actually laws in place that hey, the government's actually kind of trying to obey. Maybe.
Yeah. And I think if you have one bad bank who's like putting payment processors and like watching them and that kind of thing, just don't use that bank.
Yep.
Yeah.
We don't really have the option here in Canada. Like a lot of our stuff is federal and is monitored without the option to skip. And in the US, you just have more selection, so you can choose to not live in a gun unfriendly state. It's fairly easy. Whereas in Canada, there's not really an option there. Chase Devitt shut down service on a gun store. I know, right in the middle of handgun buying rush. That's from Russ. Yep. The next one's from James. I'm looking for an ambidextrous trigger for my new Glock 17. Andy recommendations. There's no Andy on the show anymore, James. That's a long time ago. Ambidextrous trigger. I thought they were all ambidextrous.
Yeah, as far as good triggers we can recommend, but yeah, the trigger itself is ambi. It's just the mag release, slide release, that kind of thing. But I would recommend the Timney.
Since you said you're looking for a trigger recommendation, the Timney for sure.
It's ambidextrous.
Yes, it meets the requirements. Awesome.
Yeah.
And we have nothing from Instagram or Facebook or anything like that. If you'd like to email the show, send your email to slamfireradio@gmail.com. Patreon supporters, if you'd like to help support the show, head on over to patreon.com/slamfireradio and help support the show. And with the money, we'll put hats on prize tables. I put one of the Slamfire. Actually, Slamfire Radio supported the most recent 3-gun match at Sherwood Park.
Nice.
They got a hat, and they got many of our older shirts as well. The shirts weren't a nice thing, but the hat was very nice. I really like the hat. But yeah, we left a bunch of those out there. Shout outs, Kyle.
Yeah, I'd like to shout out the entire crew that made the match happen last weekend. There's a bunch of people in there, got their hands in there to make sure that food, scores, targets, everything was all set up and went flawless. So
awesome. Mo?
To my friends Lisa and Louis for giving my guns a good home the next little while. So really appreciate that. I know they're in good hands. So
foster home.
A foster home, yeah.
Yeah.
A gun foster home, yeah. I feel better. I can sleep at night knowing that they're there.
They're in safe hands.
Yeah.
No, not hands. They're locked up.
Yeah.
Never to be touched. For myself, yeah, just the guys at Sherwood Park for putting on that 3-gun event. Thank you very much. And then for Grand Prairie, the guys, including Kyle, who helped make those maple seeds go off without a hitch. You guys gave us a bay and moved a porta potty closer so that people could make quicker trips to the bathroom and all that kind of stuff. It's very much appreciated. Finally, check us out on Gunners of Canada. Like us on Facebook. Give us a review on Facebook. Join the CCFR. Remember, shoot safe, shoot loud, and shoot often. I don't know whose term that is. And we'll see you next week.
Good night, Kelly.